Hi, everyone. Welcome to Smooth English. I'm Laura.
And I'm Ethan. Laura, I have a question for you.
Sure, what is it?
Why do some people sound rich when they speak, even before you know anything about them?
That's a great question. You know what? I noticed this too.
Right? Some people they have this special way of talking.
You know, before we dive deep into this topic, I want to share something fascinating I discovered recently. I was watching interviews of billionaires, people like Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, and Richard Branson, and I noticed they all have this incredible presence when they speak. Exactly. They sound confident, they sound successful, they sound like leaders.
That's so interesting, Laura. What did you notice specifically? And today we are going to learn how to speak like them. How to speak like the 1%.
The 1%? That's the top people, the most successful people.
Think about Jordan Peterson, or Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh, yes. When they speak, people listen.
Exactly. And you know what? It's not magic. These are skills we can learn.
Skills we can practice. So let's start with the first secret, how they use their voice.
Right. The voice patterns. Laura, you know what I noticed?
What did you notice?
Rich people speak slowly. They're never in a hurry with their words. Think about Barack Obama. When he speaks, every word is deliberate. He takes his time. Or Morgan Freeman. His voice is like honey, slow and rich. They understand that rushed speech makes you sound anxious or uncertain.
That's so true. They have a deliberate pace, a slow, careful way of speaking.
And you know what else? They use pauses.
And here's something fascinating. There's actually a scientific reason behind this. When we speak slowly, our brain has more time to choose the right words. Fast speech often leads to filler words like and like. But the wealthy, they eliminate these completely. Strategic pauses. They stop talking and let their words sink in. Watch any Steve Jobs presentation. He would say something powerful, then pause for 3, 4, even 5 seconds. The audience would hang on every word. These pauses create anticipation and make every word more meaningful.
Exactly. Poor people rush their words. Rich people, they take their time.
And there's something called vocal tuning. Do you know about this?
Tell me more about vocal tuning.
It's about the pitch of your voice. High pitch sounds nervous. Low pitch sounds confident.
So we want to speak a little lower?
Not too low, just natural and relaxed. And here's a fun technique.
What technique? You know what's interesting about vocal tuning? There's a simple exercise for this. Try humming for 30 seconds before you speak. It naturally lowers your voice to its optimal pitch. Many professional speakers do this backstage before important presentations.
It's called the exclamation point technique. At the end of sentences, let your voice go down. That's brilliant. And here's another technique I learned from voice coaches. It's called the power breath. Before you speak, take a deep breath from your diaphragm, not your chest. This gives your voice more resonance and power. You'll sound more authoritative instantly.
Down, not up?
Right. When your voice goes up, it sounds like a question. When it goes down, it sounds like a fact.
I love this.
Perfect summary. Now let's talk about words, how the 1% choose their words.
Word choice. This is huge, isn't it?
It is. Rich people have something called surgical precision with words. They never use weak language. Instead of saying, I think maybe we could try, they say, I recommend we implement. Instead of "this might work," they say "this will deliver results." Every word is chosen for maximum impact.
Surgical precision? Like a doctor with a knife?
Exactly. They choose the perfect word for each situation, not just any word.
So instead of saying good, they might say excellent or outstanding.
Right. Or instead of bad, they say challenging or unfortunate.
And they create what I call a verbal brand, their own style of speaking. And they avoid what I call poverty language. Poor people say, I can't afford it. Rich people say, that's not a priority right now. Poor people say, I don't have time. Rich people say, I'm focusing on other initiatives. The words create a completely different impression.
A verbal brand? That's interesting. Can you explain that?
Sure. Think about how Jordan Peterson always uses big words and complex concepts. That's his brand. The Rock is always positive and motivational. Elon Musk uses technical language and future-focused terminology. Warren Buffett uses folksy analogies and simple explanations for complex ideas. Each has their signature style that people instantly recognize.
I see. So they have their own way, their own style. People recognize them.
Exactly. And here's something cool. They bridge lexical gaps.
So, how do we develop our own verbal brand? I suggest starting with 3 core words that represent who you want to be. Maybe innovative, reliable, and strategic. Then consciously use language that reinforces these qualities. If you want to sound innovative, use words like breakthrough, transform, and pioneering.
Lexical gaps? That sounds complicated.
It's not. It means they explain difficult words. They help people understand.
Oh, like they might say leverage and then add, which means to use something to get results.
Perfect example. They sound smart, but they help everyone follow along.
That's so important. Now, speaking of following along, let's talk about body language.
Body language. This is where it gets really interesting.
The 1% know how to claim space. They don't make themselves small. When they sit, they take up the full chair. When they stand, they plant their feet shoulder-width apart. They never slouch, never hunch their shoulders. Watch how Jeff Bezos or Tim Cook carry themselves. They command the room with their presence before they even speak.
Right. They sit up straight. They keep their shoulders back.
And they use confidence signals, like steepling.
And there's something called the CEO stance, feet planted firmly, hands either at your sides or behind your back, chin parallel to the floor, never tilted down, which signals submission, never tilted up, which can seem arrogant, just straight ahead, projecting confidence and approachability. Steepling? What's that?
It's when you put your fingertips together, like a church roof. But here's the key. Do it at chest level, not higher. Too high and it looks arrogant. At chest level, it shows thoughtfulness and expertise. Many CEOs use this during important meetings because it projects authority without aggression.
Oh, I've seen that. It looks very professional.
It does, and there's something called the truth plane.
The truth plane?
It's when you open your palms, show your hands. It makes people trust you.
That makes sense. Hidden hands look suspicious.
Exactly. And eye contact. The 1% have strong eye contact.
But not too strong. That's creepy.
True. About 70% eye contact is perfect. Look, then look away, then look back.
And they avoid submission cues. No fidgeting, no looking down.
There's also something called the triangle of trust.
When speaking to a group, you create an invisible triangle with your eyes, looking at one person, then moving to another person about 3-5 feet away, then to a third person, then back to the first. This makes everyone feel included and creates a sense of connection with the entire audience. Right. No crossing arms, no touching their face or neck.
These are great tips, but you know what? Speaking is only half the game.
What do you mean?
The other half is listening. How the 1% listen to people.
Oh, that's so true. Rich people are amazing listeners.
They hold space for people. They make others feel heard. But this goes beyond just listening. They practice what's called active presence. They lean in slightly, nod at appropriate moments, and use micro-expressions to show engagement. Watch how Oprah interviews people. She makes them feel like the most important person in the world.
Hold space. That means they give their full attention.
Exactly. No phone, no distractions, just focus on the other person.
And they have high emotional intelligence. They understand feelings.
They can read the room. They know when someone is happy, sad, or worried.
And they ask open-ended questions.
And here's something powerful about emotional intelligence. The wealthy read micro-expressions. A slight frown, a quick glance away, a change in posture. They pick up on these signals and adjust their approach instantly. If someone seems uncomfortable, they might soften their tone or change the subject. Not yes or no questions. Questions that start conversations.
Like, how did you feel about that? Instead of, did you like it?
Perfect. And they use mirroring. Do you know about mirroring?
It's when you copy someone's body language, right?
Right. If they lean forward, you lean forward. If they speak quietly, you speak quietly.
It makes people feel comfortable, like you understand them.
Exactly. Now let's talk about something really powerful. Storytelling.
The 1% are master storytellers, aren't they?
They are. They understand something called the influence diamond. But more than that, they know how to structure stories for maximum impact. They use what screenwriters call the 3-act structure: setup, conflict, resolution. Even in business conversations, they turn information into compelling narratives.
The influence diamond? Tell me more.
It has 4 parts: logic, emotion, credibility, and urgency.
So they give facts, but also feelings. They show they're trustworthy, and they create urgency.
Exactly. And they use stories as glue. Stories hold everything together.
People remember stories better than facts.
Right. If I say sales were down 20%, you might forget. But if I tell you a story about a customer,
You'll remember that story, and the 1% add playfulness to their stories. Let me give you an example. Instead of saying, our sales increased 30% this quarter, a wealthy person might say, 3 months ago, we faced our biggest challenge yet. Our main competitor launched a product that threatened our market share, but our team rallied, innovated, and not only survived, but thrived, increasing sales by 30%. Same information, completely different impact.
Playfulness makes everything more interesting, more fun.
And they reveal in layers. They don't tell you everything at once.
like a mystery, they keep you curious. You want to hear more.
That's perfect. Now let's talk about the mindset, the psychology behind all of this.
The mindset is everything. Because all these techniques, they start in your head. The wealthy have what psychologists call an internal locus of control. They believe they can influence outcomes through their actions and words. This belief changes how they speak, with certainty rather than doubt, with ownership rather than blame.
Right, the 1% know how to reframe nerves.
Instead of thinking, I'm nervous, They think, I'm excited.
Same feeling, different meaning. Excitement sounds good. Nerves sound bad.
And they focus on service, not impressing.
There's a powerful technique called mental rehearsal. Before important conversations, the wealthy mentally practice different scenarios. They visualize themselves speaking confidently, handling objections gracefully, and achieving their desired outcome. This mental preparation shows in their actual performance.
And here's something fascinating. They use what linguists call power language patterns. Instead of saying, I hope you'll consider this, they say, I recommend you implement this. Instead of, we might want to think about, they say, the optimal approach is. These subtle changes dramatically increase their persuasive power.
They think, how can I help, not how can I look smart? There's also something called presupposition, where you embed assumptions into your language. Instead of asking, would you like to work with us, which allows for a no, they might ask, when would be the best time to start our collaboration? This presupposes that collaboration will happen and simply focuses on timing.
That's a game changer. When you want to help, you feel more confident.
You know what else the 1% master? Networking conversations. They never start with business. They find personal connections first. They might ask about family, hobbies, or recent travels. They understand that people buy from people they like and trust, not from people who immediately pitch their agenda.
And they know how to handle criticism. And they have a secret weapon in conversations. They remember details. If you mention your daughter's soccer game, they'll ask about it next time they see you. This isn't manipulation, it's genuine interest in others, but it creates incredibly strong bonds and loyalty.
They don't get defensive. They stay calm. Now let's talk about something crucial, how the wealthy handle difficult conversations. When there's conflict, they don't avoid it or get emotional. They use a technique called perspective bridging. They acknowledge the other person's viewpoint first, then present their own.
They might say, that's interesting. Can you tell me more?
For example, instead of saying, you're wrong about this, they might say, I understand your concern about the budget constraints, and that's a valid point. Let me share some additional data that might change our perspective on the ROI. They validate first, then redirect.
Perfect response. It shows they're confident and open to learning.
And when it comes to public speaking, the 1% have mastered something called command presence. They enter a room like they own it, not arrogantly, but confidently. They make eye contact with individuals, not just the group. They speak to people, not at them.
Wow, Ethan, we've covered so much today. Let's do a quick recap.
They also use what I call anchoring statements. These are powerful phrases that stick in people's minds. Think of Steve Jobs' "one more thing," or Nike's "just do it." They create memorable moments in their presentations that people quote later. Even in casual conversations, they'll drop quotable lines that others remember.
Great idea. So, speaking like the 1%. First, voice patterns. Here's something really advanced. The wealthy understand scarcity and urgency language, but they don't use it obviously. Instead of saying limited time offer, they might say, given current market conditions, this opportunity window is narrow. Same concept, much more sophisticated delivery.
They also master what's called social proof weaving. Instead of bragging about their achievements, they casually mention working with impressive people or being part of exclusive groups. During my conversation with the CEO of, or at the board meeting I attended, they let others draw conclusions about their status.
Second, vocabulary. Choose words with surgical precision. Create your verbal brand. Now, here's something important about developing these skills. The 1% practice constantly. They record themselves speaking, they hire coaches, they join speaking groups. Warren Buffett famously took a Dale Carnegie course to overcome his fear of public speaking. Even billionaires invest in improving their communication.
Third, body language. Claim space. Use confidence signals. Avoid submission cues. Here are some daily exercises you can do. Every morning, practice speaking for 2 minutes about any topic, your breakfast, your plans for the day, anything. Focus on eliminating filler words and speaking slowly. Do this consistently, and you'll notice dramatic improvement in just a few weeks.
Fourth, listening. Hold space. Show emotional intelligence. Ask open questions. Another great exercise is the mirror technique. Practice important conversations in front of a mirror. Watch your facial expressions, your posture, your hand gestures. The wealthy are very aware of how they appear to others, and this self-awareness comes from practice and observation.
Fifth, storytelling. Use the influence diamond. Stories as glue, add playfulness. One more crucial skill, the ability to adapt your communication style. When speaking to executives, the wealthy use more data and strategic language. With creative teams, they're more inspirational and visionary. With technical experts, they dive into details. They become chameleons, matching their style to their audience while maintaining their core authenticity.
And finally, mindset. Reframe nerves. Focus on service. Handle criticism well.
These are all skills you can practice. Start with one, then add another.
Remember, the 1% weren't born this way. They learned these skills.
And so can you. Thank you for listening to Smooth English today.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a comment.
Tell us which tip you'll try first. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, keep practicing. Keep improving your English.
And remember, you can speak like the 1%. See you next time.